As we assess talent and we look at bringing folks in, we look at attributes, and we look at trying to operationalize the attributes. And there are three things we look at. We look at scholarship, athletics, and leadership, those attributes. Now, how does that translate into an officer? I think you have to have the intellectual capacity to make decisions in a time-constrained environment. You have to be physically fit. And you have to have some propensity to lead. So you have to be able to demonstrate some propensity to lead. But I think after being in this position for a little over a year and dealing with bringing young men and women into our colleges to be officers, I think the critical thinking piece is most important. So what makes a good officer? The ability to critically or to think their way through a problem, to be inquisitive. You can train individuals to perform a task, but we're talking about the next level. It's the judgment piece. Judgment, you can't train somebody to have good judgment. Obviously, we compete with the other services. We're all after the same kinds of individuals. We compete with corporate America. Because they're after the same individuals we're after. We know statistically that approximately 3 of 10 Americans between the age of 17 and 24 even qualify for military service, not to mention to be officers. So that's a pretty small pool in the big scheme of things. What 3 of 10? So it's less than 3 of 10 that will qualify to be an officer. One of our challenges, our marketing challenges, is how do we tell our story? How do we get that message across? And we found that the most effective way to do that is we focus on what we call centers of influence. In some cases, these are our parents. Obviously, parents are centers of influence. But what we focus on educators. We focus on the people that deal with these young Americans day in and day out in the educational environment, and we educate the educators. We take educators and we immerse them in situations. We show them what the Army is about. We expose them to the Army, and in doing that, then they become knowledgeable. And when they are advising and talking to young people, they can more readily inform their students as to what the benefits are of service in the military. I think another aspect of Cadet Command, of our Army ROTC, that I think that gives us our special sauce, that makes us in Cadet Command so important to the Army Officer Corps, is the diversity issue. And when I talk about diversity in Cadet Command, I go far beyond ethnic diversity and gender diversity, although those are very, very important. What an ROTC officer brings to the Army is diversity, and that's economic diversity, it's geographic diversity, it's academic diversity, it's ethnic diversity, and gender diversity. There is always a tension between the operating force and the generating force, and that tension is exacerbated by conflict. And we've been an Army at war for over 8 years, and by all measures, we're going to be in this conflict for the foreseeable future. So that tension is greater, because the tension exists where we need quality, qualified officers and non-commissioned officers to continue to produce the bench, to continue to produce the talent, and go out there and train and develop in the generating force side, but we also need those same individuals in the operating force to prosecute the fight. That's a tension that the senior leadership of the Army deals with every single day. And I believe that the Army understands that the leadership of the Army understands that, and resources us to the best of the Army's ability. But that's something that always has to be on the radar screen, is the fact that in order to produce the quality output, there's a cost. And the cost is is the talent, that is the quality and talented individuals to help produce that output.